Okay, let's unpack this. You ever do something nice for someone, hold the elevator, maybe give a genuine compliment,
Yeah.
and instead of a smile, you get this look like they're trying to figure out what you really want.
hmm Or you wonder why someone else is being so generous. What's the catch?
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, is any kindness truly without some kind of hidden agenda?
Well, that gets right to the heart of why we're here today, I think.
Mm,
Understanding the surprising twists and turns of niceness, generosity.
exactly. So for this deep dive, we're tackling this fascinating world of, well, being kind, what it means to be selfless, and this whole idea of paying it forward.
And we've got some really interesting sources lined up.
We do. We'll be looking at a life hack article that explores how being too nice can actually backfire.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and a really deep Reddit discussion where people were debating whether true selflessness even exists.
That's a classic debate.
It is. Then some fascinating ideas from ethical thinkers about, what drives our actions. And we'll also explore how the giver's gain philosophy works and why community support is just so vital.
What's interesting is how these different pieces, I mean, from
Mhm.
everyday social stuff to big philosophical questions, they all connect back to how we understand and, well, practice kindness.
And that's exactly what we're after. Our goal here is to give you, the listener, a clearer picture of what motivates kindness, both in yourself and in others around you.
Right.
And maybe help navigate the, let's face it, sometimes tricky world of generosity. We're hoping to uncover some unexpected insights. Ready to dive in.
Absolutely. Let's start with that life hack article, The Paradox of Niceness.
Right. It makes this kind of counterintuitive point that if you're too nice, it can actually breed mistrust.
How so?
Well, the article suggests that because, extreme niceness is less common, people might get suspicious. They start searching for hidden motives.
Ah, okay. It's like their internal alarm bells go off. What's the angle here?
Precisely. It falls outside the norm, so we look for a reason.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We subconsciously think, nobody is that nice for no reason.
And it goes beyond just suspicion, apparently. The article shares a personal story. The author realized that setting boundaries, basically, not always being a yes person, actually led to more acceptance and respect from others, which is really interesting.
Yeah, it's like when you value your own time and energy, other people start to value it too. Maybe the boundaries signal self-worth.
That could be it. And others reflect that back.
It aligns with that idea of healthy relationships needing, give and take, mutual respect.
Right. Constant niceness without those boundaries.
Okay.
It might be seen as lacking self-respect.
Which unfortunately could lead to others valuing you less. It's a tricky balance.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Have you ever felt like your kindness was met with skepticism? Something to think about.
Definitely.
Now, let's plunge into this whole question of selflessness. That Reddit discussion we looked at really grappled with this. Is true selflessness even possible?
Ah, the big one. Philosophers have been chewing on this for centuries, haven't they?
It seems like it. The initial argument on Reddit, the more cynical take, I guess, was that even acts that seem purely selfless can ultimately be traced back to self-serving motives, like a mother's sacrifice for her child. It's just about passing on her genes.
Or a firefighter risking their life,
Ah,
either
that,
seeking glory or that hero feeling.
right. The argument is you can always find some personal benefit, no matter how small or subconscious. It's a pretty stark view.
It is. But the thread brought up some really good counterpoints. One big issue is just how hard it is to prove true selflessness.
Especially with our brain chemistry, right?
Exactly. Helping others often releases those feel-good chemicals, dopamine, oxytocin. Does that reward automatically make the act selfish?
That is the big question, isn't it? If you feel good after helping, does that cancel out the selflessness?
Many people argued no. That positive feeling might just be a byproduct, not the main driver.
And maybe getting too hung up on whether true selflessness exists misses the point.
Perhaps. We might overlook the actual benefit the act brings to society, regardless of the giver's internal state.
They also mentioned the evolutionary angle, this idea that maybe helping weaker individuals, like stepping in to help an animal,
Yeah.
might just be part of our basic human nature, sort of an instinctive thing.
That fits. Cooperative behaviors likely gave our ancestors an edge. So maybe there's a deep biological root for some helping behaviors.
But then the discussion distinguished between those instinctive acts and the more considered ones.
Or you're consciously aware there might be a future benefit for you.
Yeah, and that definitely muddies the definition of selfless.
Absolutely. They talked about the classic example,
Mm.
the soldier jumping on a grenade.
The ultimate sacrifice, usually.
Right. But even there, someone tried to find a self-interested angle, like a desire for glory after death, or maybe a final feeling of massive self-worth.
Wow, that feels pretty cynical.
It does. It just shows how hard it is to definitively rule out any self-interest.
But there was that thought experiment they discussed, which I found really compelling.
Ah, yes, the life insurance versus the pill.
Right. Explain that again. The choices between a life insurance policy that protects your family financially after you die,
Okay.
or a free pill that gives you the exact same feeling of satisfaction, that peace of mind.
Okay, yeah. The logic is, if we were only motivated by self-interest purely by how we feel.
Everyone would take the free pill, right? Save the insurance money.
Exactly. But many people, probably most, would still choose the actual insurance.
So what does that tell us?
Well, it suggests our concern for others, for their actual well-being, could be a primary motivator. It's not just about getting a warm, fuzzy feeling for ourselves.
That's a really powerful way to frame it. Our care for others can be fundamental, not just, a side effect of wanting to feel good.
Precisely. And another point raised was maybe we should focus less on this perfect, maybe unattainable ideal of true selflessness.
And more on a practical definition.
Yeah, like a working definition where you prioritize others' needs over your immediate desires, even if you do get a good feeling out of it.
So it's about who comes first in the action, not about achieving some impossible internal purity.
Exactly. Because, as one user pointed out, if feeling good disqualifies an act, then only psychopaths who might lack that empathetic reward.
Could be truly selfless. That seems absurd.
Right. It leads to a very strange conclusion about what it means to be good.
Definitely twists things up. Okay, let's maybe switch gears slightly and talk about ethics more formally.
Good idea.
Our excerpt from the Journal of Emerging Technologies and Innovative Research defined ethics as the study of ideal human behavior, the best ways to live.
And what's fascinating there is how different thinkers explain our motivations.
Yeah.
They contrasted Aristotle with Kant,
Right. Aristotle thought the goal is happiness, well-being, eudaimonia.
whereas Kant really zeroed in on duty and what he called goodwill.
Yeah, Kant's idea was that for an act to be truly morally good, you have to do it purely out of a sense of duty.
Not because you hope to gain something or you're afraid of punishment.
So giving to charity just to avoid feeling guilty. Kant would say that's not truly moral.
Exactly. For him, the intention, the goodwill
Yeah.
behind the act, doing right just because it's right, that's everything.
It really makes you think about why we do things. Is it duty? Or are we aiming for a specific outcome, like Aristotle suggested?
Different motivations, different ethical weight, perhaps.
The excerpt also name-checked the big figures Plato, Aristotle, Kant, Bentham, Mill. It's a long history of asking these questions.
And it all comes back to Socrates' basic question, doesn't it? How should one live?
Yeah, and ethics, the journal says, is the attempt to find the best reasoned answer. Not just what feels good or what's merely useful.
Finding that principled path.
Exactly. Okay, so now let's move on to pay it forward. The Wikipedia entry we looked at, it's more than just a nice phrase, right?
Right, it's a specific concept.
Mm-hmm.
Responding to a kindness not by paying back the original giver, but by being kind to someone else.
Creating a chain reaction. They called it serial reciprocity.
And it's not a new idea at all. The phrase popped up maybe early 20th century, but the concept is ancient.
That quote from Lily Hardy Hammond was great. You don't pay love back, you pay it forward.
Really captures the spirit, yeah. The idea that kindness should ripple outwards.
Benjamin Franklin apparently wrote something similar about lending money. Tell the recipient to pay it forward by lending to someone else in need.
It's amazing how this idea keeps surfacing. It even pops up in contract law, apparently, with third-party beneficiaries.
Oh, and then, of course, there was the big modern boost from the novel and the movie.
Oh, yeah, the three good deeds idea. That really popularized it at the turn of the millennium. Do something good for three people, they each help three more.
Exponential kindness.
Exactly. And that spurred things like the Pay It Forward Foundation, the bracelets.
Tangible reminders. We also saw things like Pifster for microdonations and International Pay It Forward Day.
Always to encourage it. But the entry also mentioned the more spontaneous stuff, like those chains at drive-thrusts.
Ah, yes, paying for the car behind you, which can be lovely.
But also, as we saw, sometimes awkward or problematic if the next order is huge or people feel pressured.
Right. Shows even good intentions can get complicated.
But the core idea resonates. It links to religious teachings on forgiveness, philosophical ideas. Emerson talked about rendering benefits forward.
It taps into something fundamental about wanting kindness to spread. Okay, so let's dig into the psychology of why this works. The entry on reciprocity in social psychology.
This is fascinating. It suggests reciprocity is maybe core to our survival. Leakey and Lewin talked about a web of indebtedness.
Sharing resources, obligations that helped us thrive as a species.
It's that deep-seated feeling.
Hmm.
Someone does something for you, you feel you owe something back, either to them or, like, pay it forward to someone else.
Builds connection, cooperation.
And the norm is powerful, often automatic. Remember that Christmas card experiment?
Oh, yeah. Sending cards to total strangers.
And getting a surprising number back. People felt obligated to reciprocate even with no existing relationship.
Shows how deeply ingrained it is. And it fosters cooperation too, right? The experiments where people contribute more to a common good if reciprocity is expected or enforced.
Exactly. Even with potential punishment for free riders, cooperation increases.
And sometimes this drive is so strong it overrides immediate self-interest. People might react strongly to kindness or unkindness, even if it's not strictly rational for them.
The prisoner's dilemma is the classic model for that tension, isn't it? Short-term gain versus long-term benefit of cooperation through reciprocity.
Always that balance. The entry also distinguished positive and negative reciprocity.
Right. Positive is returning good for good, like tipping a helpful waitress. Negative is returning bad for bad retaliation, essentially.
And it even explained techniques that leverage this, like door in the face.
Ah, the sales technique. Ask for something huge first, get rejected.
Then ask for what you really wanted, which now seems reasonable by comparison.
And part of why it works is that feeling of obligation. They conceded from the big request, so you feel you should concede too.
Clever, but maybe a bit manipulative. Cialdini's work on influence covers a lot of this, how we use these norms as mental shortcuts.
Definitely. And reciprocity isn't just for big things. It's in everyday workplace stuff, trust, relationships, and even just conversation flow, politeness norms.
It's everywhere. But then there was that concept of self-serving reciprocity.
Yeah, the idea that sometimes we reciprocate not out of genuine fairness, but more because we want to appear fair to others.
Especially maybe when we're not thinking too hard about it.
That's what some research suggests. Maintaining that social image can be a powerful motivator too.
A subtle difference. And it's not just humans, they see reciprocal behavior in primates too. Deep evolutionary roots.
Indeed. Okay, so let's pivot to the giver's gain philosophy. The excerpts from Dr. Ivan Misner, this is presented as a core principle.
Right. The idea is focus on giving to others first, and opportunities to receive will follow. But it's more than just tit for tat, isn't it?
Yes, the deeper insight seems to be about building long-term trust and relationships. A genuine giving-first approach creates that foundation.
So providing value referrals, support, help builds a network where benefits eventually flow back to you. It's a longer game.
And it's guided by those 7 principles. Things like give without expectation, give more than expected, but also acknowledging it's okay to gain.
That balance seems important. It's not about martyrdom.
No, definitely not. And there's that idea of infinite giving, that this mindset contributes to a better world overall, beyond just individual gain.
Fostering a culture of generosity, the principles are there to keep it ethical, effective.
And to underpin those givers gain communities where mutual support is the goal.
A network where everyone benefits because everyone's looking out for each other. That leads us nicely into the final piece, community support.
Right. The excerpt on its significance really brings giving and receiving down to the local, practical level.
It defined community support as basically the help offered within a community to people needing assistance with daily life.
And it rightly stressed how invaluable community support workers are.
Absolutely. They do so much medication help, budgeting, emotional support, daily chores. It's a huge range.
And the goals are clear. Improve quality of life, foster inclusion, tackle social and economic issues, strengthen community ties.
That sense of belonging they mentioned that seems crucial.
Hugely. It impacts mental health, provides support in crises, encourages people to get involved. It's foundational.
The excerpts listed different types too. Emotional, financial, informational, practical help.
Shows the many ways a community can support its members.
And it's not just professionals. Volunteers, community leaders, nonprofits, even businesses play a role.
But it also acknowledged the challenge is time, resources, complex needs, communication. It's not easy work.
No, definitely not. But the core message was clear. Social connection, community support, they're vital for healthy communities.
Absolutely crucial.
So wrapping this up, Wow, we've covered a lot, from the surprising downsides of being too nice.
To the deep philosophical questions about whether true selflessness is even a thing.
We looked at how powerful reciprocity is in just about all our social interactions.
The guiding ideas behind a giver's gain approach.
And finished with how absolutely vital that community-level support is.
It really shows how multifaceted kindness and giving are. Not simple at all.
Gives you a lot to think about, doesn't it? So maybe here's a final thought for you, our listener. Considering all these complexities we've explored, how does this shift your perspective?
Yeah, how do you now view your own acts of kindness or the kindness you receive from others?
Are there situations where you might perhaps look beyond the surface now? Think a bit more about the different motivations that might be at play.
And maybe think about how principles like reciprocity or that giving first mentality could be consciously woven into your interactions or maybe even into your wider community.
Lots to chew on. Hopefully this deep dive has offered some fresh perspectives on these everyday but really profound aspects of being human.